Our weddings ended up on the same day. But you were planning a modest wedding anyway, so it's fine, right? Our parents and relatives will all be at my ceremony. Saying this, my sister deliberately set her wedding date to overlap with mine. I got it. 2 months later, we arrived at the day of our weddings. What in the world is this? Huh? Angela, what happened to your own wedding? Did you get curious because our reception is such a blast? My name is Megan, a 27-year-old office worker. I've been at this company for 9 years since I graduated high school. Thanks to my tireless working, I've gained a fair amount of recognition at work and I'm enjoying fulfilling days. I've been dating a man named Brian for about 2 years, and he recently proposed to me. I was overjoyed, but out of habit, I ended up asking him, "Are you sure you want to be with someone like me?" To this, he casually chuckled and said, "It has to be you, Megan." Was this a dream? Or reality? I felt like I was at the pinnacle of happiness. We soon visited his parents to greet. "Megan, it makes us happy to have someone like you as our son's partner." "Thank you for saying that, but I'm the one who's grateful to be getting married." There's no need to be so modest. His parents were very kind, and the marriage greeting went smoothly. However, a remark from his father momentarily stunned me. "I would like to have a proper conversation with your family sometime." Oh, yes. Yes, we really should do the greetings properly between both families. Megan, you don't have to force yourself, okay? Yeah, thanks, Brian. But I'll be okay. My unease had a reason. It was because my family disliked me. I have an older sister named Angela, who is so beautiful that everyone turns to look at her. Since she was beautiful from a young age and acted like a child model, and was a reader model from high school, our parents adored her. On the other hand, I wasn't as cute as my sister, so my parents decided there was no need to spend money on me, and I grew up with very little affection from them. Angela was praised and forgiven for everything, whereas I was allowed nothing. I wasn't allowed to ask for things I wanted, and learning activities were dismissed as a waste of money. My clothes were all hand-me-downs from my sister, and my mother only made my sister's favorite foods, inexplicably giving my sister presents on my birthday too, and they were always nicer and more expensive than mine. I was often told by my parents, "Why can't you be cute like Angela?" and I had many sad experiences. Angela looked down on me because she was favored, and she was always mean to me. In middle school, her meanness escalated. When she found out I had a crush on a boy, she approached him and started dating him. She would casually reveal things about me that I wanted to keep secret. Because of her, boys I never spoke to knew my secrets, which was truly unpleasant. If I tried to argue with Angela, I would be severely scolded by our parents. Thus, to minimize the damage, I had no choice but to endure. Because of my childhood, I ended up with little confidence in myself. However, wanting to be acknowledged by my parents, I worked very hard on my studies. I consistently got good grades at school and did well on mock exams. I once ranked first in my grade, thinking that would surely earn their praise. Excited, I reported this to my parents, only to be met with a shocking response. "Don't stand out in weird ways, will you? It would be pitiful for Angela if people thought you were better than her." These words were harsh, even for a child. No matter how hard I tried, I realized my parents would never face me. Everything felt futile, a clear declaration of hopelessness. But I still liked studying, so I continued, intentionally making mistakes during tests to avoid standing out too much, just barely keeping my position around 10th in the grade. Later, I entered the most prestigious high school in my hometown. To convince my parents, I argued that this high school would be cheaper compared to other public high schools because of my low desire to spend money. They allowed it, hearing it was the least expensive option. I thought it was a clever strategy. However, after graduating high school, I wasn't allowed to go to university. "We've wasted enough money on you, start working and pay us back," they said. I had no choice but to give up on university. As it was a highly competitive school, almost no one chose not to attend college. When my teacher asked why, I explained my family situation, and he looked very sad, saying, "It's a family matter, so I can't do anything." I'm really sorry." My teacher lamented their powerlessness, but just hearing them say that touched me deeply with kindness. Moreover, my teacher helped with my job search, arranging an interview at the company I still work for. When I told my parents I got a job, they showed little interest, only saying, "Just make sure you bring in the money." Disappointed in such parents, I decided to become independent as soon as possible. I saved money while living frugally, and a few years later, I moved out to live on my own. Since moving out, I've kept my distance from my family, which made me hesitate a bit about doing the greetings with both families. It's okay to just have a light chat. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable, Megan. Thank you. I think I'll go back home for the first time in a while and talk properly with my parents. Thus, I went home after a long time to report my marriage to my family. So what? As usual, they showed absolutely no interest in me. That's because the other family wants to meet you, Mom. That's such a hassle. We're not free. We don't need a meeting between both families. I knew this would happen. No choice, I'll have to use that method. Well, I was thinking of covering the cost for lunch at the gorgeous restaurant. When I said this, my sister, who had been lying uninterested on the sofa, sat up. What? That place is delicious. I'm going. Hearing this, my parents' attitude completely changed. If Angela says so, let's go. Right. They immediately agreed to participate in the family meet and greet. Soon, the day of the family meet and greet arrived. Despite his parents greeting politely, my parents and sister only nodded lightly, their minds seemingly preoccupied with the food. My fiancé and his parents, while slightly amused, maintained a mature demeanor despite my family's behavior. I was nervous that my family might cause some trouble. When the food was served, my sister was visibly delighted and boisterous. My parents were only talking about how delicious the food looked and how beautiful it was, making no effort to converse with his parents. When his parents mentioned my sister, their eyes lit up and they began to talk volubly. She's our pride and joy. You should have seen her when she was a child. Angela, although telling them to stop talking about the past with a laugh, seemed to relish being praised. After the meal, they said, "We'll be taking our leave now," and hurriedly left. Seeing my family behave this way, both my fiancé and his parents were astounded. It's even worse than I thought. I clearly stated to the in-laws, who were faltering for words. I know it was terrible, I'm really sorry. Megan, it's not your fault. Rather, I think it's admirable how well you've grown up in such an environment. Yes, from now on, you can treat us like your real parents. Moved by his parents' kindness, I nearly cried. And we continued to prepare for our wedding. However, I was worried that my family might cause some trouble if we held a large-scale wedding. I consulted with my in-laws and suggested having a small wedding with just close family. Having seen my family at the meet and greet, the in-laws immediately agreed. But then, out of the blue, I received a call from Angela. She had never called me before, so I was a bit wary. Hello? What's up? I've decided to get married too. Huh? Oh, congratulations. So, I'm planning to introduce my fiancé. Come over to our parents' house next Saturday. With that, Angela hung up. I had plans for a date with my fiancé that day. When I told him, he said, "It's okay if we go after the greeting." So I decided to quickly meet them and return. When I met Angela's fiancé at my parents' house, I instantly disliked him. Wow, Angela was right, you really are plain. Besides, a high school graduate, huh? Wow, you really have no good points. Despite it being our first meeting, Angela's fiancé spoke to me like that. I graduated from a famous university and work at a famous IT company. According to him, he looked down on people with lower education because he graduated from a prestigious university. He is an elite who has no ties to a plain, incompetent person like you. Is that so? It seems like similar people gather around my disliked sister. I wanted to leave this place as soon as possible, so I grabbed my things to go. I'm leaving now. Then Angela called out to me, asking me to wait. The conversation isn't over yet. Is there something else? As I asked, Angela smirked and said, our weddings ended up on the same day. What? But since you're planning a modest wedding, that's fine, right? You said it was going to be a small family wedding, right? Wait a minute. That's what I said, but what about our parents and relatives? They will all be at my ceremony. You'll have a miserable wedding with not a single family member of your own. With that, Angela deliberately set her wedding date to overlap with mine. Does she really want to mock me that much? She's truly the worst. And my parents agreed with her. I got it. I decided to completely cut ties with my family. When I told Brian about this, he was appalled. Then he made a suggestion. If your family isn't coming, why not invite a lot of people instead? There are still 2 months until the wedding. Right. Even if we change the date, the parents won't come, and Angela just wants to demean me. While agreeing with his opinion, I remembered something about Brian's father. By the way, wasn't your father? And then, 2 months passed, and our wedding day arrived. Many people attended, including our friends, our co-workers, and Brian's relatives. We informed everyone at the beginning of the ceremony that my relatives were not present. Everyone supported us, encouraging me not to lose to such a sister or parents, and we were able to have a warm atmosphere at the wedding. As the wedding ended and the reception started, the MC was very enthusiastic because many people attended. Our friends performed at the reception, and thanks to some connections, a professional musician played, making it a great celebration. During the event, I saw my parents and Angela as well as her husband enter. I hurried over to them. They looked surprised as they watched our reception. When they noticed me approaching, they also walked towards me. What in the world is this? Huh? Angela, what happened to your own wedding? Did you get curious because our reception is such a blast? When I said that with a slightly triumphant expression, Angela's face turned red with anger. What do you mean by this? Weren't you supposed to have a small, intimate ceremony just for family? Actually, this wedding venue is a prestigious and expensive location, desired by many for their weddings. Therefore, Angela also chose the same venue as us, probably to mock me. Why are there so many people at your reception? Well, it's because our friends, colleagues, and my father-in-law's company people are here. Huh? The groom's father's company people? Angela's fiancé then said, turning pale. No way. Why are all the people I invited from the company here? Huh? Are these the people who canceled at the last minute? Stunned, Angela and her husband said that. Actually, the company employees who were initially supposed to attend Angela's wedding preferred ours because they are employees of my father-in-law's company. Are you talking about my father-in-law's subordinates? Huh? Your father-in-law? Yes, he just arrived here. As I said that, Angela's fiancé's face stiffened. The president. Why are you here? Well, it would be strange if a father didn't attend his son's wedding. Well, it seems like there were some strange parents around here though. My father-in-law said that, glancing at my parents, who looked embarrassed. It's really disheartening to see how quickly they changed their demeanor upon learning that the father-in-law is the company president. By the way, it seems you deliberately scheduled your wedding to coincide with my son's. That's. What was your intention? I had no idea it was your son's wedding. Besides, it wasn't my idea, but my wife's idea. She said she wanted to demean her own sister. What? Why are you putting all the blame on me? You also said it was fun to mentally corner and hurt someone from a lowly high school background. Idiot. Stop it. Not in front of the president. It's your fault for blaming me. In front of us, Angela and her fiancé started arguing. Then, my father-in-law scolded them both. Enough already. This is Megan and my son's important reception. Eek. Angela's fiancé fled as if escaping, followed by Angela in her wedding dress. Megan. As your parents, we have always thought highly of you. Since we are here, maybe we'll join the reception. Angela's wedding reception had many empty seats as all the groom's work colleagues had cancelled to attend ours. Naturally, Angela was concerned, and even her friends and the groom's friends chuckled, making her the butt of the jokes. Proud as my parents are, they were embarrassed and furious, which seems to have driven them to try and ridicule our wedding. We always thought Megan was more reliable. Indeed. I felt chills hearing my parents suddenly praising me. It's useless whatever you say now. I've decided to cut ties with you. Please leave immediately. What? How dare you say that to your own parents? Because you're in the way, leave right away. Then, the venue staff escorted my parents out, apparently at Brian's request. With the troublemakers gone, we enjoyed our reception once again. Afterward, Angela and her fiancé broke off their engagement after being embarrassed at their wedding. Moreover, since the groom had angered my father-in-law who was his boss, his chances for advancement were ruined. They are currently embroiled in a dispute over the engagement breakup fees. My parents, humiliated, turned their anger towards Angela, who they had once doted on excessively, and disowned her. I heard they were furious because they had spent about $50,000 for Angela's wedding, which she had unilaterally cancelled. Considering everything, both my parents and Angela are hopeless. Yet, since I've cut ties with them, their issues no longer concern me. I am enjoying a happy newlywed life after returning from a blissful honeymoon with my husband. He has switched jobs to work at my father-in-law's company and is working hard to take over the business. I've become a housewife to support him, working hard on our household tasks every day. We plan to continue supporting each other and enjoying our happy days together.